Alrighty. Um, what's up, everybody? I got it on low volume right now. I'm just trying to get this out real fast. Um, okay. Um, Alrighty. What's up, everybody? Sorry that took a second. Capping off week 2 here. It was a phenomenal day, full of upsets. Just action packed. I mean, you're riding the wave of emotion for no matter what team. I mean, um, Kentucky, 9-point favorites going into today. A lot of people had Kentucky covering as a safe bet. I had it as a safe bet. They got their ass kicked. I mean, straight up, that was the most embarrassing game in the Mark Stoops era with his most talent. I mean, his most talentful roster he's ever had. And I mean, he got his butt whooped by Shane Beamer and, you know, a, a learning um, South Carolina team that is like nowhere close to being like anything special. Like they have a bunch of special players, but they're not a functioning team playing functioning good football yet. Um, so yeah, I mean Alabama's in another scare with USF. I mean, it's kind of an ongoing joke at this point, but Alex Golish is a great coach. I mean, if you don't know who the name Alex Golish yet, if you didn't know it last year, I mean, he's the best G5 coach in the nation. Coach down at University of Southern Florida. I mean, he's got Todd Orlando as his defensive coordinator. I mean, it just Byron Brown, just a electric mobile quarterback that'll just put his body on the line whenever. It's it to see a G5 program stick in it 2 years in a row with Alabama is impressive. I mean, they dedicated the field to Nick Saban tonight. Everybody was calling for an ass kicking. Alabama was 30-point favorites. They're up by 12. I mean, they're fighting tooth and nail just to get the win. Um, which is how football works. It's every given Saturday. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not how the people drew it up. So I'm looking at this Oklahoma play. They got a free play because Houston jumped and Jackson Arnold threw a pick, but it's going to come back. Speaking of Oklahoma, they're in a dogfight with Houston. Houston got their ass kicked 28-7, 27-7 last week versus UNLV, and they did not score the first touchdown until they were up or down by 27 or 28 points. So that was a clear garbage time touchdown. And the fact that they've scored damn near double their total that they did last week, and it's versus a team that is 10 times better, especially a team that's in the Southeastern Conference now, is a little bit concerning for Oklahoma fans because, I mean, this game should not be tight. I mean, this is a year one team under Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz is a great coach, but he has to completely rebuild this program from the bottom up. And this is week 2 of that. Like Oklahoma looked really good last week. Obviously, Jackson Arnold was bouncing back from that 5 interception game he had in the bowl game versus Arizona. He was on an unlimited leash that game. Like he was not going to get pulled no matter how many picks he threw. Like the transition phase it was clear as day. Touchdown Alabama. Okay, they just put the game away. Nice. Is Tennessee now a top 10 team? Yeah. I mean, I thought Tennessee was a top 10 team going to this season. They lost a good bit on defense to the portal to the NFL. I was a little iffy. Obviously you have James Pierce Jr. coming back, but I just wanted to see how the next guy up was going to do. And obviously they've played 2 games so far, and NC State is not anywhere close to what we excuse me, what we thought they were going to be this year. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, top 5 team in the ACC. I mean, they looked a lot better in the first half this week than they did last year. I mean, getting in a dogfight with Western Carolina is awful. Um, but I mean, Tennessee's a top 10 team in the country. You got an electric wide receiver core. Samson's a great running back. Nico is a 5-star quarterback. That investment was well worth it for Tennessee. Josh Heupel is a fantastic offensive-minded head coach. Top to bottom, NIL collective, player personnel staff, coaching staff, you name it, student and assistants. That program is, top notch from, where it's at the top of its game that's been in a long time. So Tennessee is pleased to see these results. It's good to see Tennessee back. Historic brand. So yeah, no, Tennessee's a top 10 team. Obviously, they'll be a top 10 team because a lot of shit happened within the top 10. Notre Dame, I will say this. Notre Dame is a preseason top 10 team every year, and they're a filler team in the top 10 because they play nobody. They always have a decent roster. With the 12-team playoff, they have the easiest path to the playoff every freaking season. And they have a really good defense, or they have good personnel on defense every year. So, this Oklahoma game just got interesting. But yeah, I mean, like, it's the only way to describe Notre Dame in the preseason. They're a top 10 filler team. And as much as I would like to see Notre Dame succeed, like, I'm a fan of Marcus Freeman. I'm a fan of how he has made himself. He didn't go be a defensive coordinator somewhere. He went to Notre Dame. He became the head coach. And I mean, he was a defense coordinator at Notre Dame, but I'm sure he knew Brian Kelly was looking elsewhere. But you get what I'm saying. Like, he's made it for himself. He has this program operating the way that he wants to. And obviously, they got upset today as the number 5 team in the nation against Northern Illinois, a team that they paid $1.4 million to come to their stadium and play against them. Like, that's always the most embarrassing thing. I mean, Tennessee did it with Georgia State. Tennessee paid Georgia State the same amount of money, and they got beaten their own stadium too. It's college football. It happens every once in a blue moon. But if you look overall from recruiting to just overall vibe of the program, it might be a loss. It might be a down week. But, like, overall, like, the program is evolving with the times at Notre Dame. And I think that's more of a win than people give them credit for because, they had all these GPA standards, whatever you want to call it, the whole, Notre Dame, like, or around like the old days with Brian Kelly and, like, they were restricted from doing certain things. They couldn't do this because it wasn't the right way. But, like, Marcus Freeman has really guided them in the right direction and kept them, with the times. And I mean, he's hard not to like because he's not a loudmouth. He's a young guy. He's a young coach. He's a player's coach. And, I mean, he's just positive. He's great with the media. He's, just a super nice dude overall. So, it's unfortunate that he took a loss today, but it's college football. You come to play, if you don't come to play, you're going to lose. And, that's going to be all over the media and, better luck next week. Suit it up again and, let's go. So, Notre Dame will drop out of the top 10. I mean, Riley Leonard looked terrible today. I think that's a little bit with how Denbrock is kind of having to feel out because he had, like, these freak athlete wide receivers at LSU. Like, these wide receivers are good athletes, but they're not Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. like athletes and Kyron Lacey. Like, you don't have that plethora of receiver at Notre Dame. Like, I know you got Chris Mitchell from FIU, a couple other guys. You had a lot of departures via the portal on offense for Notre Dame, but it's like Denbrock has to get comfortable with what plays to call, with what personnel he has, and he just got to get a grip around his team. So and his offense. So it'll come, but as of right now, Notre Dame is back to the chalkboard, back to the drawing board, and we'll see them next week. I don't know who they play, but you know, get a sleep in, get a rest day tomorrow, and then just start fresh. But let's go to a different game. Colorado, Nebraska. Colorado looked really bad in the first half. They have allowed 0 points in the second half, which is, obviously you talk about halftime adjustments. This is a clinic for halftime adjustments. Now they might have scored only what? They scored 10 points. They had 0 at halftime. You wish it was a little bit more, but I mean, you can't ask for much more than, a shutout so far in the second half and to get a touchdown at least on the board. Oklahoma just got a safety. They're up by 4 now. This game is bizarre. Is this a scoregami? This might be a scoregami. 16-12. I cannot recall a game with 16-12. But I don't know who that is on the sideline. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by games. But yeah, no, Colorado came out and made good halftime adjustments. Obviously, 0 points led up in the second half. Should that offensive line, it's just like those trenches in Colorado, they're just, I mean, they're I mean, you're gonna take a step a little bit every year, but like you can't go from rags to riches in like a snap of a finger with the portal. I mean, like if you really wanted to, you can. But if you don't want to, or you get out recruited by, oh my God, Tennessee just scored again. If you get out recruited by people, like they had Derek Harmon on campus. Derek Harmon did not go to Colorado. He went to Oregon. Do I think Derek Harmon was ever seriously considering Colorado? Just from me, my brutal honest opinion, no. If Deion Sanders comes out and asks you to take a visit, you do it because it's Deion Sanders. But I mean, you gotta just keep climbing the ladder. It might not be pretty. The journey's not always, sunshine and rainbows. It's a grind. I mean, it's life. It's not easy. And we've seen some improvements on the offensive line. It was at rock bottom last year. I mean, this thing. I mean, it was gross. So I mean, Shador is like alive and breathing back there. Last year, he was dead by the first halftime of the season, probably. I mean, TCU, yeah, they won that game, but I mean, like, dude, he took like 3.5 beatings every game. So, I mean, there's general improvements over everywhere. I mean, the skill positions they never have been a problem for Colorado. I mean, they got Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, Will Shepard. Like, that is a great receiver trio at any school in the country, from Alabama to Oregon State to Eastern Michigan. It doesn't matter. You put those guys anywhere, they're going to get talent. They're going to get recognition from the media from head to toe, ESPN to your local news. So that was never the issue. I will say the two positions that they have skill issue at are running back and tight end. Whew. Excuse me. Sorry, it's kind of late over here on the East Coast, but yeah, I just got to keep going, man. You just got to keep building. I'm really intrigued to see what Dion kind of looks like. If their season unravels early, kind of the direction, if you can see them change course from, oh, we're fighting to, this is the last hoorah for Shiloh, Shador, and Travis, and many others. And then, there's this big wonder, Dion's been with Shiloh and not Shiloh. He's been with Shador every step of the way. So is Dion going to take the last and final step and go to the NFL with Shador? The consensus answer from him and from everybody just looking at, financials, just like, just basic reasons. The answer has been no. He's under contract at Colorado. He wants to coach at Colorado. He came here to do his job. And, Dion's a man of his word. Like, he's a I mean, he does, you know, he puts in 100%, 10% of effort, every day. It might not look like it. It might be presented a different way. It might be, look different within media, but it's his way. And, the effort it's always noticeable. So, it's going to be a big offseason for Dion because as of right now, he does not have a successor to Shador. I have zero idea who the backup quarterback is, to be honest with you. It's probably me. But they don't have a successor to Shador. Uh, their corners, like, I don't know. He doesn't recruit high school that well. I mean, you got George Seaton. He's got some guys in the 2025 class, but it's like you got to stack on stack in the portal as if it was high school recruiting these days because of how many people hit the portal. Like Lane Kiffin is a great example. Lane Kiffin, when he was at Ole Miss, he got Jackson Dart. He also had Luke Altmaier, who was a high school recruit. He stacked 2-on-2 right there. Obviously, Altmaier departs. He brings in Spencer Sanders. Obviously, it was Spencer's last year, but that's stacked on top of Dart, who had 2+ more years. And then this year, you bring in Walker Howard. He was there last season, but you bring him in. He has 3+ years of eligibility, stacked on top of Dart's too. And then you bring in Austin Simmons from high school and AJ Maddox from high school. Like, you have to stack these guys as if they're high school recruits essentially, because it's I mean, like, regardless if they like their situation or not, everybody has a different reason, but the portal is a ginormous magnet. You can't run from it if you're a football player, pretty much. There's rare situations where players don't get sucked into the portal. Like, I think the biggest shocker and example of this was Amarian Hampton in North Carolina. I mean, everybody and their mom's grandma was like, when is Amarian Hampton going to hit the portal? Like, what is he doing sitting in North Carolina? Like, they wake up every morning. Like, I literally wake up every morning saying that, but it's just like at the same time, like, I do a college football page. Like, during the winter window and the spring window, I mean, he put up video game numbers last year. I was like, for how much North Carolina's losing. I mean, Drake May lost a couple pieces of offensive line. Tez is gone. You name it. Like, what is this guy doing sitting at Chapel Hill? And he never moved. He never was once in the portal. Never once had a portal graphic made. He, I mean, he stayed firmly in Chapel Hill. So that's the best example I can get for you of like a rare guy that's like should be in the portal, but just never gets sucked into it. Um, but yeah, I mean, you have to stack guys on top of guys just because of just how college football is. It's a new era. So on that note, Alabama, the score is going to look pretty good. It's 42-16, but my God, it was not a 42-16 game, if you know what I mean. USF came to play. I already talked about that game earlier, actually, a little bit, but it's all but fine. I know there's 32 seconds left. They got the job done, and Nick Saban night, so that is pleasing to everybody. I think everybody can take a breath of fresh air and go home. But Oklahoma is in this dogfight with Houston right now, and it's confusing the other living hell out of me. Like, I don't understand how you go from getting beat on every phase of your team against UNLV to fighting tooth and nail with the number 15 team in the nation. It's shocking. Good job, Houston and Willie Fritz. What else happened? Tennessee looks great. Clemson. Dare I say Dabo Sweeney adapted and let Garrett Riley call plays. Because if that happened, like, breaking news, Dabo Sweeney has brain cells again or something like that. I don't know. Oh my God. Oregon is up by 3 points against Boise State. It's 10-13. Ashton Jean T has a touchdown. Evan Stewart has a touchdown. Boom. Called it. Evan Stewart has 3 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown. Why does Dylan Gabriel only have 68 yards if Evan Stewart has 3 receptions? Did he get hurt? No. Dylan Gabriel has 111 yards. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Arizona is losing to Northern Arizona University 10-3 with 6.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. What? That's sad. Arizona's defense sucks. Mississippi State is down 7-0 to Arizona State. New Mexico State is beating Liberty 10-3. Oregon State's beating San Diego State 7-0. Wow. Okay, I did not expect Arizona to be losing. Okay, let's go into the Texas game today. Texas game today was not a surprise to anybody. If you had any hope in Michigan winning this game, you're either a diehard Michigan fan and you support your team. I don't care. Cool. I'm not hating on you for it. Or you're B, dumb. So if you thought Michigan was going to win, if you placed money on Michigan covering, I mean, if you did not look at their film last week, their quarterback situation, and you were not dumbfounded all offseason about why the hell did Sharon Moore not even take some D2 quarterback out of the transfer portal? Well, I'm wondering the same question because they suck. They have Will Johnson. They have the best cornerback in the nation. He can't get you a pick six. He can't get you 7 points every week. What's up, Skylar? Shout out the Field Rush on Instagram, man, and Twitter. If you don't follow the Field Rush, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, Michigan just got bullied in all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. They got bullied everywhere today. So, I am giving myself a little pat in the back. All right, so in March when the spreads dropped, Texas was a 3.5-point favorite, and I saw that, and I knew the spread was going to jump after week one because I knew what the current state of Michigan football was like. I mean, they didn't take a quarterback in the portal. I mean, they lost 18 guys to the draft, and they lost their head coach, and they're like getting mauled by the media and the NCAA. Like, it's not an ideal situation. So I saw that spread was 3.5, and with Texas, their very lucrative portal haul, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bet the house on it. Like that spread's gonna jump after week one. Jump from 3.5 to 8.5. Thank you. Free money. So shout out Las Vegas. Thank you very much. Making CFH a little bit richer today. But yeah, I mean Auburn. Okay, let's talk about Auburn today. So Texas beat the shit out of Michigan. The game was never close. Auburn has a problem. Also at quarterback. The Peyton Thorne experiment is really dumb at this point. I mean, he was okay at Michigan State. Michigan State caught lightning in a bottle with that team. Mel Tucker was their head coach. Do I think Mel Tucker got done a little bit dirty at Michigan State? Sure. Do I, want to dig deeper into the situation? Absolutely not. But why didn't you go take a portal quarterback this offseason? Like, people were shouting for you too. I know you had offensive coordinator play calling issues last year. I know there was not chemistry flowing between, I don't even know who Auburn's OC was last year. The guy was so bad. And Hugh Freeze. Like, they didn't. I don't know who this backup quarterback they've been calling for to put in, but he's looked good in practice throughout the spring and throughout the fall. And they got Walker White. This is a redshirt sophomore now. former four-star quarterback. He's a big dude. He was always big in high school. He's like 6'2", 6'3", probably like 215. Really lean. So I mean, he's a physical specimen, but um, I don't know how ready he is. Just with the playbook and everything. But going on to Peyton Thorne, man. I mean, he threw 4 interceptions today versus Cal, and like I get it. The passing offense is better than it was last year, but holy shit. This Cal team did not have Jaden Ott at 100%. He had like 9 carries today. He was at 70% max, and 7 of his 9 carries were before halftime. Like your secondary was non-existent today. The defensive line, which I mean, his like kind of they've been getting like that defense is the bright spot of Auburn. Has been for the last couple of years. Ooh, why am I yawning, man? It just didn't show up today. Nobody showed up on Auburn today. The fans did. The football team didn't. So they've got some things to shake out in Auburn. Oh wow. Oklahoma just got a first. Not Oklahoma. Houston just got a first down, but we're gonna see if they spike the ball. Oh, they're gonna snap it. Okay, game over. Oklahoma survives. Holy shit. That was not a good game for Oklahoma. But yeah, Peyton Thorne, his days in Auburn are numbered. And as a college quarterback, literally, because he's been in college football, it seems like forever at this point, and he still stinks. So best of luck to him. You're way better than I'll ever be a quarterback. Um, football is. I wish you would have succeeded. I wish the coaches would have been a little bit better for you, and you kind of had two shitty situations, and caught lightning in a bottle with Mel Tucker at that Peach Bowl season with Michigan State, and made you look a little bit better than you were, and then you went to Auburn, and Auburn comes with Auburn. There is a endless carousel of coaches there, so. Didn't work out for him. If I have no clue who Auburn plays next, it's week 3. It's typically a cupcake week in the SEC. If I don't see another quarterback for Auburn next week, I'd be damned. At some point in the game, just like literally. I'm surprised they didn't pull Peyton Thorne today. I mean, he threw 4, should have been 5 interceptions. He got bailed out by the refs multiple times. It's just straight up embarrassing. Like, that's a Cal team their quarterback was like damn near perfect in the first half. He was damn near perfect the whole game. Like, that's just crazy. It's Cal. There's a bottom tier ACC team. That's closer to the Pacific Ocean than it is the Atlantic Ocean. Nuts. College football world we live in. No way Nebraska rushed the field. Oh, no. Yeah, they did. Why is some guy wearing an Ole Miss hat? Nebraska rushed the field. Shout out to Field Rush, man. We got a field rush. Yeah, you want to talk about perfect quarterbacks? Jackson Dart, Ole Miss. There was some random guy wearing an Ole Miss hat in Lincoln, Nebraska. Jackson Dart had throughout his last game, going into the third quarter of this game, he was perfect. He completed 30 consecutive passes. That is an SEC record. He was 24 of 24 for over 300 yards in the game. That's just nuts. I don't care who you play. I don't care what level of difficulty you're playing on a video game. If you're 24 for 24 through 2 different games, 30 consecutive passes through two different games. I mean, that's nuts. I mean, you can easily there's incomplete passes are I mean, there's a number of ways that they can come, and that's just rarefied air. I mean, the numbers that Ole Miss's offense have been putting up the seasons. Now I get it. It's Furman in Middle Tennessee. But you look at the depth that they have on offense and defense. Ole Miss is a top 5 team at the minimum. I mean, Notre Dame was the number 5 team. They're out. Uh, what Alabama was at 4, Georgia, why am I drawing that? Ohio State, Oregon, like Ole Miss, they might not be as like logo powered, you know, big boys like those other guys are. But I mean, like, you want to talk about what their football team is in 2024? Hell yes. They can go out there and they can compete with any team in the country. And in fact, they are one of the best teams in the country. So Jackson Dart put up historical numbers today, SEC record. He's on pace to be the all-time passing leader in Ole Miss history, break Eli Manning's record. It's just the portal evaluation Lane Kiffin did, even though I know there was a couple other quarterbacks that came before Dart in that transition from, Matt Corral and Luke Altmaier to Dart was awesome. And the development that you've seen from year one Dart, kind of turnover happy, back foot happy passer, kind of just not being able to survey the field, not being able to read defense. This guy looks like an NFL vet out there. I mean, this guy was perfect for 30 consecutive passes. That's nuts. And he didn't even have a passing TD till like the fourth quarter today. None of his, like, they had 4 rushing touchdowns. Like, Henry Parrish had the 4 rushing touchdowns today. Like, I want to talk about a humble player. Like, to go and have 300 passing yards and to not kind of give your coach the nod to, like, give me a passing touchdown, like, it's a true team player right there. So, shout out Jackson Darty season in Oxford, Mississippi. Love that place. Grove is awesome. People are awesome. But yeah, Ole Miss is legit. Walter Nolan got a little banged up today. He looks fine. Dart got hit once in the pocket and it was a blindside hit. But he jumped back up. That kid's tough as nails. He got knocked out cold like 3 or 4 times last year. Never like truly was ruled out of a game once. Like, the amount of insanity that is, like, literally got knocked out cold and came back into every single game. That kid's tough as nails. So, yeah, watch out for Ole Miss this season. They got depth everywhere. The secondary needs to, kind of improve a little bit. It's a new group. They're getting used to each other. Pete Golding's in the second year at Ole Miss. He's finally getting to be able to call like his type of defense, not just run zone all year like he had to do last year. He's got a personnel he wants to. So game 2, they play legit. They play their first away game next week. They play at Wake Forest. Now I know Wake Forest is not some big mighty team to be scared of, but it's an away game. It's a Power 4 team. It's a well-coached team, and it's a good challenge to have early in the season. Not be at home for all 4 or 5 games. You get to go away to a hostile environment, I guess you could say, and see what your team's like when you're not, comfortable at home. So we'll see next week. They play on like the CW network or something. I don't even know if I have that. I might have to watch it in black and white. But I'm gonna go back to it, man. Kentucky played like shit today. Like, you have Barian Brown, Dane Key, Jamori Macklin, like another dude, Dingle, Brock Vandergriff. That's a 5-star quarterback right there. Your offensive line is some hot garbage. Like, hot garbage. You have the best interior defensive lineman in the nation in Deion Walker. Experienced linebacker in Jameis Dumas-Johnson. And you got your ass kicked by Lenore Sellers, Robbie Ashford, and Shane Beamer today. At home as 9.5-point favorites. You lost by 20+. Embarrassing. Mark Stoops, Your days are numbered. Just I saw somebody tweet this out earlier. It was a perfect analogy. Just like John Calipari's days, kind of the time was up at Kentucky. Stoops, time's up. You've done everything, and and more for this Kentucky football program. You are the Kentucky program. Now it's time for a new generation of the Kentucky football program to come to life in Lexington. Just kind of where it's at this point, because that was inexcusable. What else happened today? Penn State had a real big scare against Bowling Green. Shout out the best team at the MAC conference. Shout out the MACtion. Bowling Green. They were fighting tooth and nail. Connor Blazelak led the game with 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fortunately, he did throw 2 picks. But this came down to the last 2 possessions in the fourth quarter. Drew Aller looked like prime Drew Aller. Did not throw it to his wide receivers. Was throwing it to his tight end and his running backs. Check down after check down. Not really, but he did not throw it to receivers at all today, really at all. And Nicholas Singleton had 2 touchdowns. One of them was receiving. One of them was a rush touchdown. Katron Allen did not have any touchdowns today. And yeah, it was just not a good performance by Penn State overall on either side of the ball today. I mean, that is a that's a G5 team coming into your stadium for your home opener, and you give them like 4 heart attacks, your own fans. Like, we already saw, I mean, like James Franklin, there's so many 10-2 jokes for James Franklin. Like, this guy wins every game except for Ohio State and Michigan at this point. Like, when is this guy going to get over the hump? He seems like he's been at Penn State for like 3 lifespans now. And he just got another contract extension to his 4th lifespan. He's got a great defense. He's got a great OC in Andy Kolnicki. He's got a vet, a super veteran in Tom Allen calling his defense. And you get, I mean, they played at the same level Penn State was playing for all 4 quarters of this game. And it was Bowling Green. That's not good for Penn State. But shout out Bowling Green, man. Today was full of upsets. I gotta go back. I said I feel like week 2 is gonna be full of upsets. I did tweet that out. Look at CFH go. Okay. Florida's game just wrapped up. All right. Florida fans think Lane Kiffin's going to Florida. If Lane Kiffin goes to Florida, no, I will not eat dog poop from a solo cup and videotape it and do it with a spoon. Whatever 3, 2, 1 Noel said. But I'd be damned, because his brother is moving back to Oxford, Mississippi. He literally has like a wooden frame up of him, like he just purchased land to build a brand new house on, which is, a lot of that's 7 figures to do. It's a big investment for anybody, time wise and money. I mean, your daughter goes to Ole Miss. I'm sure Knox goes to either online school. I don't even know if that kid goes to school at this point. He's on Fortnite so much. And just like wandering around town when like normal school hours are going on, or Oxford High School. But Knox is in high school. Landry's at Ole Miss. You have all this freedom and just relaxation in Oxford. I mean, Ole Miss was probably the best thing that's ever happened for Lane Kiffin mentally. I mean, you can see how much he came in there, just like how literally fat Lane Kiffin had like 4 neck rolls coming in from FAU. And he's lost all that weight, and he's the happiest he's ever been. So good for him. Do I think he's going to move to Central Florida? No. Like, and any person with 2 brain cells move to Gainesville, Florida willingly? No. So Florida does not have a top 10 NIL collective, yada, yada. We can go up and down the list. But let's talk about their game today. They played Samford. DJ Lagway got his first career start at Florida, and it went about as expected. Florida had no business even, being in trouble with this team. This is a really bad Sanford, ace. What is it? Ace Sun, Sun Belt maybe. Um, I mean, this team is, a JV team playing a varsity team pretty much, and it went like that today. I mean, like it didn't impress me. I mean, DJ Lagway had a DJ Lagway day. I mean, he's a five-star quarterback. I mean, you paid all that money to get him to stay committed. He's the saving grace of your program. And then, you know, it kind of had no other option today than just like pray to Jesus that DJ Lagway put up some decent numbers. And he did. I mean, like that once again goes to show how bad of an opponent they were playing. But um, they got spanked by Miami last week. And this was one of their only like kick in wins. Like Florida has the toughest schedule of all time this year, and this was their only gimme. So it's good to see that a game went just as planned for Florida fans, for their mental sanity, just for health of the team. You know, albeit, I mean, everybody from every team wants every week to go as smoothly as possible, and I think with Mertz only getting a concussion, obviously he broke his collarbone last year. So like he got hit in that head and neck area. So I was afraid that he re-injured his collarbone last week versus Miami. He did not. It was just a concussion. He looks A-okay. He was out on the field supporting his team today. This week went smoothly for Gator fans, I guess you could say. So that's a very much positive for them. And they can go to sleep tonight, with a big victory. So shout out to them, but Lane Kiffin's not going to Florida. I'm sorry. You don't have the money to buy his buyout, buy Billy Napier out, buy Scott Strickland out, and then present Lane Kiffin with more money than he's already making at Ole Miss, because he's making $10+ million at Ole Miss. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Florida for today. They got UCF next week. I do think. Okay, it's week 3 for them. I did predict Florida to end the season on a 7-game losing streak. Okay, let's talk about this. CFH's super dog for the week. Baylor, they covered. Super dog is 1-0. It was a late one, but they covered 14.5. Final score was 23-12. That's an 11-point loss. They covered it with 3.5 points. So shout out to Baylor and the Fighting Dave Arandas. CFH super dog is 1-0. That's really all I got to say. I am super glad Cam Rising is not hurt, because, by God, if he would have gotten hurt, it just sucks, because he's such a good dude. He's had such a long career in college. Obviously tore his ACL, was out all last season. Everybody's glad to see him back. So good for just the whole Utah program that they avoided a scare there, and that they were able to get out of today with the conference win and move on to next week. What else? Oh yeah, that Arkansas game. Okay. This is the funniest game I've seen in a long time. I mean, the amount of self-harm these teams were doing to themselves was like diabolical, and like there you see the meme of like people falling out of their chairs laughing. It was like every other play, like somebody, like I would literally, like, it was like I had the emotion that I was gonna like fall out of my chair laughing, because like it was just like the stupidity of what they were doing. Like Alan Bowman going down the sideline and like flicking off like all the Arkansas coaches, like getting a 15-yard penalty, causing the drive to stall. What else? Just the penalties and the refs at the end. Arkansas blowing like a 21-point lead, like just like doing nothing for a quarter and a half. Just like the whole thing going into double overtime after the, college kicker moment. One kicker makes it, one kicker doesn't, and then they both miss. It was a great game. I mean, nobody expected Arkansas to be good. I'm not a believer in Oklahoma State. I love Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy should have his own Coach of the Year award, and he should win it every year, because he takes a bunch of 2-star athletes and turn them into 4-star every year, and coaches. So he is a machine over there in Stillwater. And took them into double overtime, and it took a lot of voice and energy out of them, but they came out today with a W. So it's really all you can ask for as a football coach, and move on to next week. But it was it was a very entertaining game to watch, um, from a third party perspective, not being a fan of either one of the teams. All right, another game earlier today, Tulane and Kansas State. This was a very good game today, very good test for both teams. Tulane had the lead for the most part of the game. They were at home. There was a little bit of rain in the game. It was like a just kind of gloomy day in NOLA. It didn't look like it wasn't torrential, like the ball wasn't super slippery, like there was no slipping and falling or anything. So, but there was a little bit of weather, and then but Tulane was handling business. I mean, Avery Johnson didn't look good early on. I mean, it was like Kansas State was not sorted right on defense. It was just a mess in the first half. And then the second half came around, and Kansas State put up a great fight. It was game went to the last second. Took a couple of turnovers. Kansas State had a scoop and score that was super clutch. Like I think Tulane was at like the K-State 40, and then like their quarterback dropped in the pocket and like fumbled it, and it went like they picked it up at midfield and just ran it all the way back. Like that's a 60-yard flip of the script right there. Like that's like hitting the jackpot in football. Talk about a game turning over. So, yeah, no, Mensa for Tulane had 342 yards of passing today. That's nuts. This guy had to compete with former five-star Ty Thompson and Ty Horton, who was also at Tulane last year. He started the game against Ole Miss to be the starter, and Mensa won. And he was their leading passer and rusher today. He had 342 yards of passing, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He had 28 carries, 128 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown. And the leading receiver in today's game was Tulane's Mario Williams, transfer from USC, University of Southern California, not in South Carolina. 6 receptions for 128 yards. So obviously, if you go look at the game, has turnover, just like defensive points written all over it. I mean, Kansas State's got to go back to the drawing board, but they got a good squad. They came out today with the win, but it wasn't pretty. LSU let Nichols stay in the game till like the fourth quarter. They scored 7 points, 7 points, 7 points. They put up 21 points, and LSU only put up 44. So, the final score does not look pretty, but LSU's got some work to do defensively, and that's really all you got to say. Iowa State had a phenomenal comeback today. They hit a 54-yard bomb with 5 seconds left to go up by 1 point. And they scored 0 points in the first half, and they were down 13-0, and then they came back and they scored 20 points in the second half, and they held Iowa to 6, and they won the ball game. It was crazy. I was at Iowa. It was a great comeback, great battle of Iowa. No complaints overall. There was scoring in the game. There was punting in the game. It was a lot of Iowa football today. So shout out Iowa State. Shout out to Syracuse, man. Coach Fran Brown defeated number 23 ranked Georgia Tech today, 31-28, excuse me. Ohio State transfer Kyle McCord had 381 yards of offense today, 4 passing touchdowns in his ACC conference play debut. This was also the debut for head coach Fran Brown in his ACC play. He is 2-0 as a head coach. Not much more else to say than that Syracuse made a great hire in Fran Brown, and you couldn't have hit the home run ball harder with Kyle McCord out of portal. They should wake up every morning and thank Ryan Day that he scapegoated Kyle McCord into transferring, because he's not worse than Why am I trying to blank? Ohio State starting quarterback. Why am I drawing a blank? I don't know why, because he went 11-1 last year as a starter. I know it wasn't pretty versus Michigan. It wasn't pretty at all the whole season, really. But like it wasn't his fault. Ryan Day was calling the offense. It was a year where Ryan Day had to show his coaching skills, and he showed that his coaching skills were rusty. So what did he do? He called up the first person who ever hired him and his mentor, and Chip Kelly, and said, "Come save my ass." And Chip Kelly said, "Save my ass. UCLA sucks." It was a match made in heaven. So Chip Kelly went to Columbus, and that's where they are. They have a top 5 team because Ohio State has a boatload of money and they recruit really well. And you know, they played Western Michigan today. They played pretty well. I mean, they won like what 53-3. Trying to look at it right now. Quinshon Judkins had a much better day. Oh, Boise State is beating Oregon. All right, this is concerning. 17-14. Wow. What the hell is happening? Oh, this game's on Peacock. Man, fuck paywall. Yeah, Will Howard. Sorry, that's the Ohio State quarterback. He transferred from Kansas State. I don't know why I was drawing a blank, but Kyle McCord is a better passer than Will Howard. Better runner? No, Will Howard beats him out by a mile. But better passer? Yes. So that's really all I got. My biggest loser today is Notre Dame. My biggest winner today is Tennessee. Tennessee is a top 10 team. They got a ranked win over a team that shouldn't be ranked, but comes with the territory of being early in the college football season. And that is will benefit them to their college football playoff bid. And they are my biggest winner from today. And Tennessee is rolling. Rocky Top is rolling recruiting wise everywhere, like I said earlier. So that was my biggest winners and losers today. And if you want to ask me how shocked I am that Arizona is losing to Northern Arizona University 10-6 at halftime, what the fuck? Where is Tedero McMillan? And Oregon just had like a Hard Knocks like thing directed about them. Like they look great on their whole the Team Out West thing on YouTube. Like I watched all 4 episodes. They were awesome. And they have like a top 3 composite roster team, and they're out here fighting tooth and nail with Boise State and Idaho. Like what? What? This is why college football is awesome. But all right, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you followed my channel at College Football Headlines. Chandler's not here. He's asleep. He's got to work early in the morning. So this is a little solo post-game show for me, just kind of ranting and bantering about how college football went today and, what we saw, the pros and the cons. And, make sure you're subscribed on our YouTube channel at CFB Headlines, also on YouTube. And if you need anything, shoot me a DM. If you want to talk ball, please don't be about Florida because Florida fans have negative IQ. But just comment at me, throw a post, throw my at in there. I'll banter with you, and appreciate each and every one of y'all. And we'll be back for more. Peace.